Day Yoga for All class. Let's go ahead and get started. You're going to come to a comfortable seat. And for myself, I like to sit up on a bolster. You may want to sit on a blanket, a folded blanket, or even, I'm just going to make sure my volume is on. Or you can even sit in a chair. And we're going to cross the legs if that's possible for you. If you have blocks, that's an awesome prop to have to put under the thighs, to prop up the thighs. If you have any stiffness in the hips. Ideally, you want your knees to be in line with the hip bones or lower. So if you find you're sitting like this, get up higher. Either stack bolsters, pillows, couch cushions, or sit up in a chair. Okay? And then once you get comfortable there, just go ahead and close your eyes for a moment. And take a few breaths. So one of the things that is really becoming apparent during the 7th week of our stay-at-home practice is the need for patience. And when we just allow ourselves a moment to sit silently and breathe, we are practicing this beautiful art of patience. It's one of the things that I was not born with for some reason, or maybe I was born with it, but I lost it somewhere along the way. So the yoga is really helping me to be able to pause once in a while and be a little bit more patient. So let's be patient with the breath as it starts to lengthen. We want to lengthen the inhale and exhale. And if we can, we're going to breathe in and out through the nose. And as you're focusing on your breath here, start to notice how we start to tune out the outer world and make a choice to tune into what's going on inside the body. And that choice, that decision to leave the outer world for the inner is called pratyahara in yoga. It means withdrawal from the servitude of the senses. So it's an exquisite sort of turning inward and allowing everything to fall away and just being present with the breath. On your next inhale, take a full breath in. And when you get to the very top of that inhale, you're just going to pause there, holding your breath until it feels uncomfortable, and then you're going to exhale. And pausing at the bottom. And then when you feel called to, you're going to inhale again. When you get to the top, you'll pause. And then when we exhale all the air out. And pause again at the bottom. You get the idea. It's like a square. Inhale. Pausing at the top for as long as is comfortable for you. Exhale. Pausing at the bottom. Let's do 2 more cycles. Inhale, go with your own breath. If it's different than my cues, inhaling. What we're doing is we're creating a longer inhale and exhale here by controlling the breath, exhaling as you're ready. Pausing at the bottom. One more time, inhaling through the nose all the way up to the top. Even letting it come up into the face. You can feel a smile forming, pausing there. And then exhaling out the nose, all the way to the bottom. And then just leave your eyes closed or close your eyes if they were open. And just notice how you feel for a moment. So slowing down the breath creates a feeling of calm in the body. It helps us cultivate patience. You know, we're just not going to get as much done these days. We're just not. Good. Go ahead and open your eyes and let's start moving. Okay, you're going to take your arms and you're going to sweep the arms up alongside your ears. And then as you exhale, you're going to turn the palms towards the ground and sweep the arms back down again. So just starting to warm up the shoulder girdle. Inhale up, palms face each other, rotate in the shoulder, and exhale. Good. One more time. Inhale up. This time, bring the palms all the way together. You may need to bend the elbows. And then exhale, bring the hands in towards the heart center. Good. From here, stretch your arms out and let your fingers be facing the ceiling. Okay, so a little bit of nerve work there. See if you can spread your fingers wide. If you've been working a lot on the computer, this may be harder than it looks like it's going to be. Then you're going to twist to the right. Bring the right arm forward and the left arm back. And just let your head naturally turn in that direction. As if you were going to push something away from you, reach the palms out again. Good. And come back to the center point. Drop the shoulders away from the ears and twist to the other side. Left arm forward, right arm back. Get really long through the side waist. Press your arms away and come back to the center. Good. Go ahead and drop the arms down and then just shrug the shoulders up by the ears and circle them back down. Do that a couple times. That feels good. Inhale up. I've been having a lot of stiffness in my neck. Up and then down. Sleeping too hard. Inhale, come up. Shoulder rolls opposite direction. So bringing them forward, loosening, loosening, loosening. Okay, we want to get all of the crunchiness out of the neck and shoulders. Good. Take your right hand, put it down on the floor next to you. If the floor seems really far away, put it on a block. And let's lift our other arm up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale here, and then as you exhale, take a nice side bend. We're going to do that a couple of times. This is called pendulation. Inhale up. Not a cool word. Exhale down. You can look at the floor if your neck is stiff. Inhale back up and getting a nice stretch. Today's class is going to be focused on the hips. Hold this one. So you may even start to feel a bit of an outer hip stretch on this left side. But just wait, there'll be more. Inhale, come up, just sweep it to the other side. Take a nice stretch here and go slowly. You know, when we're not in the studio, inhale, and I'm not watching you and we're not watching each other, we need to be patient and kind and listen to our bodies. And we're all at different levels. So if something doesn't feel right to you, just make that executive decision, pause here, to not do it. You can always just lie on your back or rest in child's pose or just watch. You know, we learn by watching too. So we don't want the ego to get in the way. Inhale, especially with our home practice, and exhale. All right, you're gonna sweep the legs out in front of you for a moment. Take your hands like little paddles. And your pat up and down. Get into the tensor fascia latae on the outside of the legs. And then taking the hands underneath the knees, just give a little rub into the hamstring area and the back of the knees. And then hands like tiger claw fingers into the knees themselves and get a little massage there going. Okay, so now you have a choice. You can stay up on your perch or you can come down onto your mat. We're going to be taking the first of our hip stretches. So what I'm going to ask you to do first is to stretch your legs out a little bit. Now again, if you're hanging back this way, then just get back up onto your bolster, all right? And then kind of rock side to side. We want to feel the inside of our knees rolling forward a little bit. And I have a little bit of flexion of my toes, and that's going to support the stretch, the inner thigh stretch and the groins, pressing the hamstrings down a little bit here. Walk the fingers in front of you and lift the chest. So if you're already feeling an extreme stretch, you're just going to stay here. If you want to go a little bit further, feel free. Okay, take a few breaths there, just opening the hamstrings. You can drop your chin towards your chest if you'd like to feel that stretch in the back of your neck. And remember, for those of us who have really tight hamstrings, you may need to take a little bend in the knee, and you can put your blocks underneath, or you know what's good for this is like rolls of toilet paper. It would make really cushy little props for under your knees too, or paper towels. I didn't have any paper towels to demonstrate for you, but anything that's going to help you there. Okay, 2 more breaths, please. You can let the shoulders roll forward a little bit. We're letting gravity take us down here. Our good friend gravity. Inhale, pull yourself back up. Awesome. Now you're going to assist by placing your hands under the right knee. You're going to assist that leg to bend, and then you're going to pull the foot in front of the pubic bone. Again, option to place blocks under the knees. Okay, here we go again. This time, put your hands behind you for a second. Lift in the chest and drop the shoulder blades down the back. Feel that awakening. This is an upper body back bend. Good. And then from there, the hands will come forward and we'll start to walk forward a little bit. And this is really the first of our outer hip stretches. So I am feeling it in my outer right hip, my lower back a little bit. And I just want you to go to where you feel the tug. Now, for some of you, that might be here. The good news is we're all in the privacy of our own homes. So the ego is completely out of this. You do what's right for you. Just go to where you feel that little bit of a pulling, and you're going to pause there. And you're going to breathe. I find all kinds of things on the floor when I'm practicing. The other day there was a piece of spaghetti. Not mine, my son's, I'm sure. Couple more breaths. Beautiful. Walk yourself back up. And then assist this leg to open back up and just give it a little shake. Good, good, good. We're going to take our hands under the other knee, bend it, and tuck our foot under. Again, option to place something under the knee, okay? You want to feel well-founded on your sit bones. We're going to sit up first and bring the hands behind us. I've still got the flexion in the right foot. I'm pulling the toes back towards the shins a little bit. My left hip, those of you who know me, know my left hip is a little creaky, so this one doesn't feel as good to me. So I'm going to bring my leg a little more forward. All right, let's go forward. Onward towards pigeon pose today. So we're working towards pigeon because that's what I promised you last week, and I like to keep my promises. Pigeon pose is called in Sanskrit Eka Pada Rajakapotasana. That's a mouthful, and you can use that to impress your friends. Drop your chin towards your chest if you feel like that's going to feel good on your neck. And then again, we're making that choice to turn inward. That's how we keep our body safe and how we feel what's happening in the pose. I sometimes like to think about tucking my tailbone down in this pose. Because then I get a little bit of extra sacral stretch there. And you don't have to be still. Remember, you can rock it. Awesome. And then walk yourself back up. Assist the leg to unfurl. Give them a little shake. Okay, last one, you're going to bend both knees. You're going to bring the soles of the feet together now. Notice one knee's going to be higher than the other knee probably. Grab the front of your ankles if you can. Sit up nice and tall. So we're using the muscles along the spine. Okay, if you're rounding far back this way, I want you to sit up on something. And we're going to walk the hands a little bit forward. So the same thing we just did, but this time from Baddha Konasana. Both knees are bent, soles of the feet are together. So you feel that tug in the lower back and the outer hips, and that's where you're going to pause. Okay? What we want to do is not round the lower back. We're feeling extension in the lower back. It's okay to round the upper back a little bit here, but let's keep that extension in the lower back. 2 more breaths. And I always like it when a teacher says, okay, 2, 3 more breaths, because it brings my attention back to the breath and I take a deeper inhale and exhale. So I encourage you to do that if that feels right to you. Good. And then walk your hands back up. Relief for the legs. You're going to bring the knees together. And then you're just going to let yourself come to the side and come up onto hands and knees. And we're going to move our body into a tabletop position. So I encourage you, if you have sensitive knees, you're going to take the blanket under your knees. You could even take your bolster or pillow under your knees if they're super sensitive. And I'm hoping that most of you have blocks or block substitutes. Okay, you could use blocks, you could use a book, you could use your rolls of toilet paper, although they're not quite as sturdy, or you could also use a chair. Okay, so get those blocks set up at the front of your mat or your chair, and I'll grab a chair so I have that to demonstrate, because we're going to be moving in and out of sun salutations today. All right, I want you to be nice and warm before we do our pigeon. So come back to tabletop pose when you've got all that set up. First, we're just spreading the fingers wide, rolling from the pinky finger down to the index thumb. And let's start with some cat-cows here. Inhale, sag the belly, look forward, and lift the tailbone. And then as you exhale, round, bring your chin towards your chest and hips towards your shoulders. So it's just a simple, beautiful movement, wave-like motion in the body. Exhale, rounding, chin towards chest. Continue about 3 more of these. See if you can lengthen and extend even more, especially on this one, the cat pose. Good. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, flexion. Keep it moving. And then exhale and round it back. Good. Please bring your knees closer together. Bring your inner edges of your feet close together. Keep your toes tucked and let yourself walk your hands back towards your knees. So we're putting some weight into the plantar fascia of the foot. Your hands are either on your blocks or they're alongside you. Lift your chest and look forward. See if you can move your ankle bones, inner ankle bones, towards one another. This is going to put more weight into the big toe mound of the foot. And in general, we want that part of our foot to be really, really open and strong. Otherwise, we tend to roll towards the pinky toe side. Some of you may want to come all the way up for the next couple of breaths. You could even lift your arms overhead. So I like to give things in stages. You're either in first stage, second stage, or third stage. Good. And you can always make the choice to come back to hands and knees. Point your toes, tap them out, let that go. Good. You're going to stretch your right leg out to the side. Okay? So I'm stretching it directly out from my hip. My toes are pointing forward and I'm rolling my outer edge of my foot down. Take an inhale here and get really strong in the upper back. Fly the chest forward. And then as you exhale, you're going to tuck your back toes and move your hips back, just like you did a moment ago. We're going to flow here. You're going to come inhale, forward, weight over the wrists, and exhale, back you go. So this is getting into the inner groins and the sacral area. It's a variation of gate pose, okay? One more time. Exhale. See if you can pause here and come down onto your forearms. If you need to relax the back toes, go ahead and do that. Maybe you can sit all the way down. Maybe you're going to be up higher. That's up to you, okay? You can put more weight into your forearms if you're up higher. Take a couple of breaths here. And then on your next inhale, you're going to swoop that leg up towards the sky. What? Reach the heel up and rotate the top thigh down towards your mat. I'm pressing into my forearms really strongly here. Inhale, exhale, bring the knee back to the floor and walk back up to your hands. Good. Second side, stretch the left leg out to the side, okay? So straight out from the hip if you can. If that doesn't feel good, experiment with moving it a little bit back or a little bit forward, okay? Back toes are tucked and we're gonna flow. Moving the hips back and then moving forward in space. And very gentle here. Remember, we're still early days. Until we get about 20 minutes in, 25 minutes in, we wanna gently awaken these joints. Unless you've already done like a half marathon or stuff today. Maybe you have, I don't know. This one we're gonna hold. So option 2, untuck the toes if they've had enough. And you're gonna come on down and sit on your heel, or you're gonna come into this forearm position. So different modifications depending on your flexibility here. Really activate the inner thigh muscles of the extended leg. Breathe. Good. And then come back up. Oh, I'm sorry, onto the forearms and lift the left leg. Almost forgot that one. Turn the toes down. Inward rotation of the upper thigh. Hands can be in prayer position or they can be interlaced. But we're pressing the forearms down and extending and reaching through the heel. And then finally, are you lifting your lower abdominal muscles up? I hope you are. Please do that. We're engaging the psoas. And then bring the knees together. Walk your hands up. Take a wide knee position. Open your knees. Toes touch. Settle back into child's pose for just a moment. Now again, you may want to stay up on your forearms. Or you may be able to drop your forehead and stretch your arms out in front of you. Take about 5 breaths here. As you're doing this, round your tailbone back down towards your heels. And turn your attention inward to the breath. Breathing, lengthening in the spine. Breathing. Letting go any patterns of holding in the back there. So good. And then you're just going to slither forward onto your belly for a moment, okay? Coming into Sphinx pose. So again, we're on the forearms. You're going to lift the chest up. And you might feel a little stretch in your lower belly. From there, you're going to bend your right knee and slide it up to a 90-degree angle or lower. You're going to take a few breaths there. Getting a little cramp. If you cramp up, come out of it, shake it out, and bend it again. Sometimes it takes a few times. Look forward. So we're not flinging the head up, but we're looking forward, just past the front of your mat, I would say. Okay, lengthening. Chest flying forward, and it almost feels like you're pulling the front of your mat back with your hands. Okay, good. Then re-straighten that leg. Let's do the left side. Left knee bends. This is half froggy pose. From the waist down. From the waist up, we're still in Sphinx. And if your arms get too tired, of course, you could rest forehead on top of the palms. So that's an option. But I really like it on the forearms. It puts a little bit more weight in the pelvis. But again, we're using our good friend gravity here. Breathing, lengthening, breathing, lengthening. Excellent. Now stretch that leg out. And again, you're going to bring the hands to prayer position or interlace your fingers. If you've interlaced your fingers, you're going to tuck the pinky under. Now bring the elbows in so they are right under your shoulders, okay? Go ahead and tuck your toes. And on an inhale, you're going to lift into forearm plank. Puff up your upper back and fly the chest forward. I want you to look with your eyes to the front of your mat. Super strong. I know this is intense. Take one more breath here. Ah, awesome. And then bend your knees, lower yourself down. And now we will come down and rest our forehead on our hands, bend the knees, and then just windshield wiper the knees back and forth for a moment. All righty. Good. Now, please come back up to tabletop pose. Remember, you can always stop and rest, or if you need to get water, of course, do that. Tuck your toes. We're going to come into a downward facing dog position. Lift the hips and move them back. So if you imagine that your hands are ripping your sticky mat forward and your heels are ripping your sticky mat back, you're going to tuck your tailbone, and once again, you're going to lift the muscles of your lower abdomen. That space between your belly button and your pubic bone is lifting up. I'm also turning my upper arms away from my ears. Okay, super important. Take one more breath here, and then come back down onto hands and knees pose. You're going to go ahead and grab your blocks, toilet paper rolls, books, whatever you got, and you're going to inhale the right leg back. You're going to put a little weight into that foot, and then as you exhale, you're going to bring it in between your blocks, okay? And then I want you to, just for a moment, I'm going to move my blocks so you can see, nudge your front foot more forward, okay? So the ankle is actually in front of the knee, and then we're going to flow here. You're going to inhale and drop your pelvis towards your mat. And then as you exhale, you're going to move back and move towards straightening. I'm flexing my front foot. And take that a couple more times. Inhale, lift up. And continue. I'm going to come towards my computer to just make sure that this banner that popped up is not showing. But you're moving with the breath. You're inhaling, the hips are moving forward. You're exhaling, the hips are moving back. Let's do two more. And back foot can be flexed or it can be pointed. That's up to you. Everybody's different there. Okay, last one. You're going to come forward. Lift the chest. Lift the eyes. Good. And then nudge the front foot back and then just bring the knees together. Come on up for a moment. Shake out the wrists. Give them a break. And then here we go, second side. Take your left foot, stretch it behind you. Put a little weight into it. On your exhale, bring your foot in between your blocks. Now go ahead and nudge your toes towards the front of your mat. So your ankle is now in front of the knee, so you have somewhere to go as you shift the hips forward, coming into a deeper lunge, and then exhale. And if you like, you can flex that front foot on this hamstring stretch. Inhale, come forward. And exhale, going back. Pulling the belly in as you go back. And really coming through the center of the foot, lifting the chest. Shoulders drop away from the ears. We get a nice flowing motion moving with the breath. Hips get so tight from sitting, so we want to work that out. Last one, a little bit extra there. Oh, good. And then bring the knees together. Hands are going to come off the blocks. Tabletop pose. Tuck your toes. Let's do downward facing dog again. Press the hips back. Hips go back. Tailbone rolls down towards the heels. Chest moves, back chest moves into the front chest. My teacher, Shosha Bottoms always says that. Back chest into front chest. Nice full inhale. And then as you exhale, folks, walk your hands and feet together. Widen your feet if you need to. Keep a bend in your knees if you need to. And let yourself hang forward. So you want to think about the hips folding forward over the top of the femur bone. If this isn't comfortable to you to hang this way, that's why you have the chair, and you can go this way, okay? Couple more breaths. Either way, we are lengthening the back and relaxing the head. Good, and then you're gonna bring your hands to your thighs, lift with your head to come all the way up. All right, let me adjust my computer. Please come to Tadasana, mountain pose. And we're doing this at the front of your mat. So you can get rid of the blanket that's on your mat. You do want to have your blocks or your chair at the front. We're going to start to move a little bit quicker. So stay with me. I'm going to be using my blocks today. My feet are parallel and hip width. Okay, so the outer edge of your feet is parallel with the outer edge of your mat. As you inhale, sweep your arms all the way up alongside your ears. And then as you exhale, bring the palms together and bring your hands to your heart. Inhale, stretch the arms up again. And then as you exhale, you can bend in the knees, but you're going to bring your hands down to the floor, or you can come just halfway. So that's up to you. Full forward fold, you're bending, or just a forward fold from the hips. Take a nice full inhale and exhale here. Rock yourself forward more towards the balls of your feet, okay? And then inhale, bring yourself back up to standing and find mountain pose. Let's try that again. Half sun salutation. Inhale and exhale. We don't have to think about anything but just the breath right now. Inhale and exhale, forward fold position. Remember, you can stop with hands on the chair, or you're going to bring your hands to the blocks or the floor. You can bend your knees as much as you need to for as long as you need to, but rock your hip bones over the top of the femur bone. Relax the neck, open the jaw. Open and close the jaw a couple times. Loosen it up. Good. Next, inhale, bring yourself all the way back up to standing. Find your Tadasana, your mountain pose. Good. Let's go a little further. Inhale the arms up. Exhale the palms to the heart. Inhale the arms all the way up and exhale, forward fold again. This time, as you come on your inhale, bring your back to flat and stretch your chest forward. Heart shines forward. Exhale, forward fold again. Bend your knees slightly. Send your right foot back into a lunge. And then both feet back, plank pose, top of a push-up. Now, if you need to, you can bend your knees to the mat, all right? Depends on your shoulders, how you're feeling. But take a nice breath here. Good. Now let's all bend our knees to the mat. And you're going to start to bend the elbows, lowering your chest and forehead to the floor. Uncurl your toes. Shrug your shoulders back and come into a cobra position. My shoulders always want to go up around my ears. Bring them down. Elbows close to the rib cage. Then from here, walk yourself back to tabletop pose. Tuck your toes and come into downward facing dog. Round the outer shoulders. Round the upper arms away from the ears. Upper arms away from the ears. Nice big breath. Good. Now from here, come down to your knees. Inhale, bring your right foot forward and come into a lunge position. Take a breath here and really push that back foot into the mat. Lengthen through the spine, spinous erectus muscles going forward. Lengthening the two sides of the neck going forward. Inhale, as you exhale, bring your feet together, come into your forward fold. Remember, you can do forward fold with your hands on the chair or the blocks. You can keep a bend in the knees, or you can drop all the way down. You have so many choices. Good. And this is the perfect place to turn inward. Forward folds are wonderful for calming the brain and the nervous system. Now you're going to roll up. If you get it all dizzy, keep your eyes on the ground till you're all the way up. And then when you feel well-founded, lift your eyes. Second side, inhale. Exhale, palms to the heart. Inhale the arms up. Go into your forward fold, your version of your forward fold, stopping wherever you need to stop. Chairs, blocks, or chair. Or blocks, or chair. Inhale halfway. Fly the chest forward. Bend the knees slightly. We're going to send the left foot back, lunge position. Then the right foot joins it, plank pose. Core is super strong here. Bend your knees to the mat. Bend your elbows, lower down chest, forehead to the floor. Uncurl the toes, come on up to cobra. I am lengthening my legs back as much as I can, and I'm rolling the outer calves down. Pinky toe side of the foot is down. Push up to tabletop pose. Walk your hands back, tuck your toes, move your hips back over your heels. Downward facing dog. Can you move your shoulder blades down your back and roll your upper arms away from your ears? Can you tuck your tailbone down and widen through the sits bones? Good. And then from here, on an exhale, come back to hands and knees pose. Inhale, bring your left foot forward. Tuck your back toes. You can use your blocks here. If you need the floor to be higher, come into lunge position. Take a breath. Get really long. Stretch that back knee. And then on an exhale, bring your feet together. Dive into the silence of the forward fold or the forward bend, wherever you are. Good. Inhale, rolling on up, rolling on up, rolling on up. Oh my gosh, time is flying. Let's do one more sun salutation. Series B. Bring the feet a little closer together, okay? On this one, you're gonna bring your arms up alongside your ears. If your arms don't do that, you could go in cactus position or in a wide V. You're gonna sit back Uttanasana, chair pose. So the knees are moving forward, the hips are sitting back. Take a nice big breath here. Push through the feet, swan dive down into forward fold. Inhale halfway, exhale forward fold. Inhale, right foot back, and then left foot back, plank pose, top of a push-up. Now you have a choice here. Push forward on the toes, come down to your knees, or just bend your elbows and come to the floor. Uncurl the toes, come up to cobra position. Get really open in the chest, tuck your toes, walk your hands back, come into downward facing dog. Few breaths here. So we're doing a modification, a modified sun salutation that I really like because it puts the body in the correct alignment. If you prefer not to go through tabletop and just swing right up into downward facing dog, that's awesome. Just make sure you're not dumping in your lower back. Now from here, you're either gonna come to your hands and knees and bring your right foot forward like we did just a moment ago, or you're just gonna go right into the lunge. So take your time, get into that lunge however you need to, and then once you're there, walk your left hand closer to your right foot and let's take a twist. Right hand comes to the right hip. I'm extending through the two sides of the neck and my back thigh is rotating down. If you want, you can add this arm, but it's not mandatory. Where we want to feel the rotation is in the rib cage, lungs, heart, throat. Good. Bring the hand back down. Inhale, bring the feet together. Let it flow. Let the breath flow like a wave here. So warming up in this room. And then come on up. Take your time. Eyes can look at the floor as long as you need to. Lift the chest. Sun salutation number 4, supreme effort here. Bring the feet closer together. Inhale the arms up, sit back in your chair. Take a breath here. Feel the tailbone roll down and the lower abdominal muscles lift up. As you exhale, come into your forward fold. Inhale, give it some effort. Exhale, come on down, bend your knees, send your left foot back into a lunge. If you don't want to do plank again, you can just pause here. Or we're going to come into our plank pose. Move the heart forward beyond the wrists. Bend the elbows close to the body. Uncurl the toes, lift the chest, outer calves roll down. And then tuck the toes either through tabletop or just up into downward facing dog.
This is our last down dog of this class, so really extend your spine and roll your tailbone down towards your heels. Find the length and width of your breath. Good. And then from here, you're either going to come down to tabletop and bring your left knee forward, or you're just going to bring your left foot forward, coming into your lunge. And then walk your right fingertips closer to the inner arch and take your hand to the thigh of your left leg or your left hip. Twist. The right ear moves away from the floor. And if you like, that top arm, or left arm rather, can reach towards the sky. Balancing and breathing, balancing and breathing. Or if you're me, balancing, breathing, and talking, which is harder than it looks. Bring your hand down. Last forward fold. Inhale. Well, I shouldn't say last. I might change my mind. But take a bend in the knees if you need it. Maybe grab the elbows. Release the lower back. Release the breath. Good. And then gently, gently, you're going to roll up. Come all the way up. Shoulders back and down. Whew. Tadasana. All right, good. Okay, so let's see, where are we on time? Okay, so we're going to come on down. I think I'll have you first come onto your backs. So I'm going to show you the first modification of our pigeon pose today. Okay, let me readjust my computer. So please come down onto your back. You can have a blanket under your head and shoulders like I do here. And I know that sometimes people have more bulk in their shoulders or more musculature here that makes them a little stiffer. So if you're one of those people, you may even find that you need an extra little lift under your head. Ideally, you want your forehead and your chin to be kind of in line. If your chin is really up high right now, you're going to have to put a little something under your head there. Your knees are bent. Bring your arms alongside your body, and you're going to take your right ankle and cross it over your left thigh. So this is a version of pigeon, outer hip stretch. Sometimes you'll hear it called the figure 4 stretch. And you can take your right hand to your right knee and press in. And at the same time I do this, I like to drop my tailbone down and kind of wiggle it side to side a little bit. Now, so I want you to remember all of these, or some of these stages, because you're going to have options. When we go into the full pigeon prep, you may decide you want to just repeat this series. Okay, so the next stage of this would be to lift the left foot off the floor and to grab either behind the left thigh or the front of the left shin. And again, rocking it is nice. If your head starts to come off the floor, go back to the previous incarnation of the pose, okay? Again, it's not a competition. We want to work safely. Another option would be to straighten the bottom leg. It's going to put a little bit more. And we want to feel the stretch. We want to feel that tugging, might be a little bit of a dull, achy sensation. What we don't want to feel is any sharp pain or kind of electrical sensation. That's nerve pain, and we don't want that. Good. One more breath here. And then you're going to drop the foot to the mat. You're going to release the right foot. Open up your arms and just windshield wiper your knees back and forth. That feels good. And this is also great because you have a high concentration of lymph nodes right here in the hips. So you're compressing them. And then when you release the stretch, influx of blood, collagen, lymph goes into that area. It's very, very, very good for your immune system. Left side, flex the left toes back towards your shin. Okay, this is my cranky left hip. So it doesn't go as far. And I have to be okay with that right now. I used to be a ballet dancer. For those of you who don't know me, so I was a ballet dancer for about 40 years, too long. So a little bit of trouble in my hip. ballet is beautiful art form, but actually not very good for the body unless, you know, I don't know, maybe some people are formed that way, but most aren't. Remember, you have options. You can lift that right foot off the floor if you want a deeper stretch. You can also stretch your right leg towards the sky. So as we go into the final stretch of class here, you're going to find I start to talk a little bit less, thank goodness. I'll still give you the cues, but I want you, again, to really take this time for yourself, to be patient, and to let the unfolding of this pose happen. We should be nice and warm. The joints are ready. Okay, one more breath. Listening to the body. You can rock it. You can rock side to side. You're going to bend your right knee. Release your left foot. Open your arms and let the blood flow. Just windshield wiper. The next time your knees fall to the right, pause there. Take your left ankle, if you can, and hook it on top of your left thigh. And what you're going to feel is a pulling down, creating space in the left hip. If that doesn't feel good, just stay in the twist with your right foot on the mat. You can go back and forth. Good. Second side, let the knees fall to the left. Experiment with taking the weight of the left foot to the top of the right thigh. It's going to pull it down, yes, but what I really want you to feel is it pulling it forward. So creating length in the femur bone. And I feel a really wonderful opening in my hip there. Which is important because we sit so much, right? So if we could keep this opening, that'd be awesome. But as soon as we go back to our computers and sit for a while, it closes back up. As you inhale and pull the belly in, you can really feel the stretch. And you're going to exhale, release. You're going to roll to one side, and you're going to press up. Okay? So we're going to go into our pigeon pose now. And if you're familiar with pigeon and you want to just go for it, go for it. But I'm going to show a couple different options. So there's the option on the back we just did, or you could even just rest and go into Shavasana if you want. Here's another option. Take your bolster. Put the bolster under your belly. Stretch your right leg out and bring it into this lunge position we were doing earlier. And then you're going to allow your back thigh to rest on the bolster. So it's not under your pubic bone, it's under your back thigh. Then you're going to heel toe your right foot over to the left side of your mat until your right knee can come to the floor. And then if you can either come onto your blocks or you can come onto your forearms like we did in that forearm plank. Try to tuck the toes of your back foot and roll that back thigh under. Outer hip stretch. Now, some of you might not need the bolster under the back leg. If you're not feeling anything here, go ahead and get rid of that bolster. Some of you may feel like, oh, this is not safe for my knee. If that's you, please go back onto your back and do the version we just did, the figure 4. Okay, I started with the bolster, but now I'm feeling pretty good, so I'm going to take that bolster out. I'm going to keep that back leg rolled under, though. And I want to be right in the middle of my mat. The right knee should be past the right shoulder. It may be that your pubic bone, your pelvis is sort of hovering above the floor. That's okay. But if that's the case, I want you to feel a little bit of lift in your pelvic floor, almost like you're doing a Kegel exercise. Couple more breaths here. So we're finding that centeredness. And, I know I promised I wasn't going to talk as much. I get so excited. I have so much I want to say to you. Couple more breaths. Good. All right, here comes the fun part. You're gonna walk your hands under your shoulders and you're gonna bring yourself back to tabletop pose. Be careful if you have the bolster there. And I know I said no more down dog, but we're just gonna do it for a second. Tuck your toes, lift your hips. Whew. Take a breath. Down dog is a wonderful clearing feeling after pigeon pose. Awesome. And then come back to hands and knees. Find your bolster. You could also use here a giant pillow or a couple stacked blankets. You're gonna inhale, stretch that left leg out. Make sure that you can get your hands to the front of it. And you're gonna bring the left foot forward. And just like we did before, I'm nudging my foot forward. Remember when we did that lunge towards the beginning of class? This back prop is supporting my back thigh, okay? Then I'm gonna heel toe this front foot towards my right shoulder. I'm gonna move my weight way forward, way forward. And you're gonna be able to tell right here, maybe I just need to stay up like this. Or maybe this feels crazy, and I'm gonna come back out of it and come onto my back. Or maybe it feels pretty good, and I'm gonna just tuck my toes, rotate that back thigh under. I'm gonna point that back foot, and I'm gonna start walking down onto forearms. So intensity, yes. Sharp pain, no. Outer hip stretch. See, where is the holding of the stress in the hip, in the sacrum? And let it go. Turning inward. You may find you don't need the bolster. You can experiment coming down a little bit closer to the mat. You can let the head hang. Some of you may even be able to come down and rest your forehead on your hands. Whatever's appropriate for you today. A couple more breaths here. Good. Walk your hands under your shoulders. Finagle this. You might have to heel toe your foot back out again. Get to tabletop. Tuck your toes. Last down dog, and I mean it. Couple of breaths here. So good. And then come down to hands and knees. And please take your bolster if you have it. Or you could also use a rolled up blanket. You're going to place that towards the bottom of your mat. You're going to take a blanket for your head and put that at the top of your mat. If you have a t-shirt or an eye bag or something to cover your eyes, I suggest putting that on. And you can either lower yourself down sideways or lower yourself down on your arms and get that prop right under your knees, okay? So you could have the option of opening the knees and taking a Baddha Konasana pose here. Might feel really good on the hips. If that's not comfortable, just stretch the legs out long. The arms are going to come out to the side, and we're going to tuck the shoulder blades under so they're flat on the floor. Now, you're going to just check your head. You know, if you need to fold your blanket so your head's a little more comfortable, go ahead and do that. And then just take a nice full breath in. As you exhale, sigh out the mouth. And then go back to your normal inhale and exhale. And we are in Shavasana, final relaxation pose. So allow yourself to feel the full effects of your practice, the flowing warmth and energy you've created in your body. Staying with the breath, right here, right now. Allow yourself to fully relax. And when it's time to come out, you'll hear the sound of my chimes. Please take a full breath in and a full breath out. Gently start to move fingers and toes, circling wrists, circling ankles. Take a nice stretch through the arms and the legs, stretching through the spine. Exhale out the mouth. When you're ready, bend your knees and please roll to the side. Take a moment there, take a breath, be patient, be kind, and when you're ready, come on up to seated. Bring your hands right below the sternum, lifting upward towards the heart. And we'll close our practice chanting the sound of Om together from our virtual studios. Relax and fill your lungs. Thank you so much for joining me. Even though I can't see you, I can feel your presence and your commitment to your practice. So thank you so much for coming. If you enjoyed the practice, give it a thumbs up or leave me a comment or subscribe. And I hope to see you next Wednesday. Wish you peace and radiant health. Namaste.